Well, it's great to be here tonight, and I could spend some of my time saying nice things about people and talking about many people I know here, but I don't have a lot of time. So I'm going to get right at it, if you'll let me. A couple little advertisements to begin with. I've got some stuff at the back there that there's a table. My wife is here with me, and I'll introduce her to you in a moment. She'll be back there. I'm going to talk to you tonight about things like the Timothy Fund and helping us to train people all over the world to take the gospel to many places in the world. If you want to pray for missionaries, you can pick up a calendar. If you want to read some stories about missionaries, we've got a book back there. If you want to read more about Spain, and I'm going to talk about Spain in a few minutes, go in and see Raul and Lily and see what they've got there. I'm going to talk to you at the end of the night about Give Every Day, about what it takes for us to do mission work, and the little dream that we have that would help us to double the number of workers we have around the world. I might talk to you tonight about something called Heart, which is about planting churches that are the heart of communities. So you can pick up any of that information. Let me just highlight one. Maybe you would like to give a year of your life, 3 months of your life, 6 months of your life. Maybe you're a young person in between high school and college. I want to go and do something more than just a short-term missions trip. I want to go somewhere for a period of time. We have something we call midterm missions. These brochures are in the back. And we've got opportunity for people to go to all kinds of different places in the world to work alongside our global workers, including some of those restricted access nations. You say, well, I'm a teacher, or I'm a plumber, or maybe it's anything else that you do. What could I do? We have things that you can do. And the great thing is that God's method, very often, of reaching people around the world is not to send missionaries. He sends missionaries disguised as people with PhDs that do cancer research. That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. That lady's going to go places that I'm never going to get to as a pastor. Or he sends missionaries disguised as teachers who have influence over all kinds of kids who will never listen to me. Or maybe he's going to send a missionary disguised as a plumber or a construction worker who's going to have a whole crew of people that he's working with that don't know anything about Jesus. And while you're working, you're going to tell people about Jesus. There's all kinds of see, God, that's God's method. He doesn't want to send missionaries. He wants to send followers of Jesus in whatever profession they're in, and he disguises them in that profession and uses them for his purposes. If you're interested, make sure you drop by, pick up one of these, and you can get more information about that. Let me tell you 3 things about myself, and then I'll make a little covenant with you tonight. I was born in Africa, grew up in Africa, spent 20 years of my adult life in Africa, so I've lived in Africa more than I've lived in Canada. Thank you for putting the Zimbabwe flag front and center there. Appreciate it very much. That's my home country in Africa right there. My wife Cindy's with me here. We spent 20 years in Zimbabwe and came back 4 years ago so we could serve in this particular role. And when the Lord releases us, we'll go back probably to Zimbabwe because we feel very much at home there. Currently, my responsibilities are to try and give oversight to what we're doing around the world. What I want to do tonight is just give you a little picture of what God's doing in many places around the world. Now, it's 7 o'clock. I'm going to talk till 7:30, and no matter where I am, I'll probably at that point jump to my conclusion. I've got way more to tell you than I have time, but when I get to 7:30, if I remember to look at my watch, I'll get to the conclusion, and we won't be here too long because we do want to do some things in the service tonight. So, let me get at it here. As I travel around the world, I have opportunity to hear some incredible stories about what God does in people's lives. This is Sharon and Shekinah. I met these two little girls in northern India, Bihar province, and right now they're singing "I'm Trading My Sorrows." You'll never pick that up if you listen to them. But you'll notice the little girl on the right has no left arm. Like hundreds of children in India, and it's not that parents are evil or bad. Sometimes the circumstances in life that people find themselves in are just so oppressive that when another child comes into their life, maybe especially if it's a daughter, they simply can't care for them, and many children are just tossed away. The parents simply cannot manage. They're so poor, they don't know about family planning, there's all kinds of problems. This little girl was thrown away. Thrown in front of a train, and by God's grace, the train didn't run her over. But before she was found, some stray dogs came and they literally ate away her left arm. But by God's grace, she was found by a pastor named Augustine Kumar, a man I've come to respect very much for the work he's doing in northern India. He and his family adopted, these are both the adopted children of Augustine and his wife. And here they are, full of joy in life. Here's this little girl off to school. Full of joy. She was so happy. You should have seen her crawling all over her adopted father the whole time I was there. There was so much love and joy in the family. You see, this is what we have to offer the world. Anyone who is in Christ is a new creation. The old is gone, the new has come. Now I can tell you stories like this in so many places. In a moment, I'm going to introduce you to a friend of mine that travels with me everywhere I go. I call her my dancing Cuba lady, and some of you have already met her. But some of you haven't, so I brought her along tonight. Cuba, 51 years ago, communism came to Cuba. Religion was banished, churches were closed, pastors were put in prison. The church went underground. Castro tried to destroy it. He says it's the opium of the people. It's of no value. There's no value in religion. And so it got pushed down. But every time you push the gospel down, it springs back up. And the church in Cuba that we work with, called the Assemblies of God of Cuba, actually grew in the last 50 years from 300 churches to 3,000 churches. If you think they can dance and sing at KRT, well, I've got competition for them tonight. For an hour, these people just full of joy and life, and there's no generation gap. They were just having a good time in the presence of the Lord. I particularly like this lady here, my dancing Cuba lady. I say, Lord, help me to be like her. This lady danced like this for an hour. She does a little moonwalk here in a moment. Back she goes. Then while I was preaching, she fell asleep. I think she's heard enough sermons in her life. She didn't need another one from me. What was I going to tell her anyway? This lady's lived through 50 years of communism, 50 years of oppression, and all of the poverty and everything that it brings, and yet there is joy and peace and life, because if somebody is in Christ, they are a new creation.